Everybody, please be seated. I love that. Imagine if I was a judge. Order in the court. Sit down. Yeah, they would, wouldn't they? That's right. I actually had a mallet I could pound one time somewhere, and I forget where it was, but boy, I pounded. I had a blast with it. I would love that. Imagine the sound on this. Okay, folks, we are starting the open mic portion of our show. What everybody waits for. They love the features, but they love the open mic too. And we are going to make an exception. Normally we go first come, first serve, you start. But we have a very talented lady who actually has to be out of here very quickly. So we're going to start off with her. She's been very, very, very excellent supporter of Poetic Justice. So for her, we will make an exception. I would like you to please put your hands together and welcome Ruth Kozak to the stage. And I'm asking everybody one poem each because I have 13 open micers, and I'd like you to try and get off in 3 minutes if you can. If you can.
What I've got today is not really poems per se. These are called small stones, and they're very similar to haiku, excepting there's no 5-7-5 scheme. What they are is like moments in time, sensory moments in time, usually a couple of sentences, and then the last sentence takes you out of that moment. So these are some that I wrote when I was in Greece this summer. Well, the first one actually is one I wrote when I was in Caerphilly, Wales, where my father's from. An overcast day in Caerphilly, I tour around the castle, animated history inside turret walls, lunch at the castle pub, remembering my father. This one's from Athens. The heat is oppressive, so I walk in the shadow. The pavements are like Vulcan's forge, yet in the trees little birds still sing. And this one I wrote when I was on the ferry, going to Naxos. Poseidon's horses are prancing on the sea today, their white manes streaming over the wine-dark depths. The ship rolls and heaves. A distant island stretches out, barren and brown, white houses clustered up the hillside like pebbles strewn on the earth. The ferry plows ahead, rolls and shifts. I feel the coolness of sea spray on my face, blown by the wind. This one here is walking through the National Gardens, where I know that Aristotle had his Lyceum there someplace, but later on I found it was like a block past the back of the gardens. I walk through the shady gardens, past the palace where the Greek king once lived, round a corner, and there it is, the grassy turf bared, revealing walls and pathways, Aristotle's Lyceum, the palaestra where philosophers strolled, imparting their knowledge, the gymnasium where young men, their bodies oiled and glistening, exercised in the sun. On the corner, a convoy of police lounge around their armored vans. This one, I went to the Schliemann's house, which is now a numismatic museum. In the numismatic museum, there are hordes of ancient coins. I find Philip and Alexander's finely hammered pure gold staters, thin as petals, engraved with their heads. There's a portrait one of Ptolemy and a silver tetradrachma of Alexander, just like my ring. Outside on the street, an emaciated girl holds out a cup, begging. And this one, just a little one here, to end my short time here. This was, this is one of my observations from a street called Hatzichristo Street. Every night at 7 p.m., the dog stroll begins on Hatzichristo Street. Big dogs, little dogs stop, sniff the trees, do their doggy things, sometimes nose each other. I remember when that side of the street was apartments where some of my friends lived. Now it's the fenced backyard of the Acropolis Museum and a favorite place for the dog's evening volta.